birth to herself.
The thing is, it's so difficult to even begin to understand it. So
I don't think. I think you know where it is. This is somewhat of a confusion. Look at the possibilities of the universe itself.
Yeah.
4 possibilities.
These are human framings. Did it create itself? Was there a creator? But this is how a human mind thinks.
So then, exactly, and that is all we can do. That's why we have faculties, in order to establish thought processes, making sure what is coherent and incoherent. So let's just go run through this very quickly. Did the universe create itself, which is akin to saying that a mother gives birth to herself? Nonsensical. If you did say the universe created itself, then that would, in some aspect, refer to an independent thought process of the universe.
Now
which
you're going to ask, what is the universe?
No, I'm not going to ask that. I'm going to say to you, did the universe come from nothing, which is akin to
what is nothing? I mean,
by definition, nothing is the absence of everything and anything. Yeah. So from nothing comes nothing. There must have been something. It cannot be nothing.
But that's another human framing.
Not necessarily. It's quite simplistic, because the 4 possibilities of the universe, it either created itself, which has 2 issues. Number 1, you're implying retrospectively that it's an independent thought process which creates itself. Then you're implying in the same juncture that a universe, as such, would be akin to a mother creating herself. Then the second point, did the universe come from? So that is dealing with.
Yeah, but when you say a mother creates a baby on her own.
No, I didn't say. I said it's akin to saying that a mother gives birth to herself. That is
birth to herself.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Right.
Which is akin to saying that the universe, gave birth to, or gave birth to itself.
Yeah,
it's akin to saying that.
I don't know. I'm not sure it is akin, because it's a different, 2 completely different things.
No, but the analogy is exactly the same. What it's trying to show to you, how can a universe create itself? And even if you did argue that point, you would then argue that it would have had a conscious will, because everything is dependent.
It is possible it is a possibility that the universe did create itself, but it's not a possibility that a mother gives birth to herself.
How? Sorry.
How? Yeah, but that's beyond. I mean, the reason we're having the conversation is because we can't answer that question.
But then you wouldn't give that analogy that the universe can create itself, but a mother cannot create herself. So that seems to be somewhat contradictory. So in essence, what we're trying for you to reflect is, in addition to these points, did the universe create itself? Number 1, which I think is a total utter paradoxical fallacy. The second point, did the universe come from nothing?
Yeah, but the thing is, the universe isn't what we think it is. We look at it and we say, oh yeah, we think we know what it is. There's 300 billion stars up there, and there's another 100 billion galaxies and whatnot. But that's how we interpret what's being shown to us. But there could be a completely different thing going on that we just will never ever be able to perceive, because we only got our eyes.
Precisely, but what we can say for certainty is that the universe came into existence. Currently, established science tells us that the universe came into existence some 13.8 billion years ago. Okay, so, but that's the point. In this
that's another religion, isn't it? Science.
No, it's not. I mean, I think science is compatible with religion, in the sense that all science can.
I'm not saying they're not compatible, but I'm saying it works in the same way as a religion. It's a belief system.
Yes, but then I said, then we got into other aspects of that belief system, which would also inculcate logic and reasoning. It doesn't go simply into the empirical understanding of a scientific empirical experiment that you do to prove it. Rather, you look into other elements of science, like the philosophy of science, as an example. And that will then deem into these points I'm trying to raise to you. That can the universe create itself? No. Did the universe come from nothing?
Maybe it can.
But then that would imply the point I'm trying to make is that would imply, therefore, a conscious mind. If the universe, for example, it's like saying a mother gave birth to herself. It is what you call a non-starter. It's simply, analogously, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't think that analogy works.
Where doesn't it work? I mean, what's the difference between...
You're talking about a human process, that's impossible. But and we know it's impossible. But the whole where the universe came from, we just don't know.
So what we say then, but the point is that
So
if you
definitely know, and I don't know.
I don't think, you know why I would say they're both in the same category? Because what you're in effect saying that the universe would have had a conscious will to create itself.
Well, that's a possibility.
But that's self-contradictory.
No,
Can't you
it's
see that?
not,
Analogously,
because
it's a
so
self-contradictory.
that conscious will could be what everyone calls God.
This is the whole point I'm trying to come to. You see, that is where our argument lays in its concrete form.
Possibly, but possibly not.
No, so by that very understanding, analogously speaking, that is what we would define as a creator who is independent, who has a conscious will. For example, this mobile phone. 60 years ago, if I was to give it to you, having never seen it before, no one's seen it,
Blown away.
you'd be blown away. I could say to you, here you are, right in the middle of Oxford town centre, go and speak to someone sitting in Perth, Australia, right, using this device. You're going to think, all right, okay, fine, let's see what he's got to offer. And I say to you, here you are, I'll operate it. If you operate it, you can talk, you'll see yourself. What's the first thing you're going to ask to go with it? What's the first thing you would ask to go with it? You will ask for a manual to how to operate the phone. So user guide. So what we say, a creator, then is akin to having created a creation, then he wants us to lead a life according to his will. And when I say his, it's just a figure of speech. God is not a man. You know that full well, don't you? Yeah, it's just a figure of speech, which is the etymology used within the nuanced construct of religion, which it doesn't mean that God is therefore a masculine gender. So hence we look at these points in that particular manner, and we then try to inculcate these points. So it's more than likely, as opposed to being unlikely, that something which you have, I think in retrospect, maybe without even knowing, accepted that there must be that God, because you said in akin to the universe creating itself, but that must have had that superior creator element, which must have been God. That was your very words, which I'm paraphrasing. So hence, that is the most plausibility. A creator is beyond the universe, who's not like the universe. No. Sorry about that.
I've had a lot of discussions like this with people of different faiths, and always enjoy it. But I have a very fixed idea of. I mean, the latest idea is that everything we perceive is like an interface, and we have no idea what's going on underneath, and how that's constructed, and what that's all about. There's one guy who's put forward a theory about how there's these conscious elements that it is reality, but it's not reality. We have a very narrow view of what reality is, because we've just evolved to know reality in order to survive. So it's very sight-based, and it's and we only take in the need to survive. So sort of trying to extrapolate from that what is going on. It's almost an impossible task.
But all
and that consciousness that's underneath, the scientists would say, oh well, that's your kind of unified theory of everything. Religious people would say, well, that's God, and everyone. I think it all amounts to the same. I better go anyway.
Okay, great speaking to you. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. So a nice little conversation with our somewhat agnostic stroke atheist friend. Again, we can see the bundle of contradictions which come out, where he's prepared to accept that the universe can create itself, but it would have some sort of divine conceptual being who would have created it, without realizing what he's saying is accepted that is a God. So it's paradoxical how they still invoke that there is a God, but they don't want to say it in the conclusive way that we say it, in the sense that a singular being beyond the universe has created all this. So this is essentially the components that we like to use, but there seems to be some sort of reticence to use the term God. But retrospectively, that is what they conclude, even as you observe this conversation. So inshallah, may Allah guide him as usual. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah, lots of conversations over the last 20 minutes.
I felt like I was watching BBC